Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Eco TV viewers and listeners from around the world and the Gambia. This is your host, Lamin Mane. My colleagues and friends, Larry, Lamino Koma, and Mama Nding are not here today. They are all on special assignments, so I'm here alone today. But next week, I'm sure at least one of them will be back with me on the platform. Welcome to your program, and thank you for receiving us in your different homes. And we would like to discuss with you again today what we see as to what we need for this Gambia. Thank you so much. Talk to you later. Mbadi Gambian kola ning milbi bankoy bantalambali be kontonna ba fulale assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah albadi ma alterima la min mane wala nakate kunna le kacha na bankola kula ga programme bi ko di Gambia we want bi kaf ñoo mañola interi mañolu la mino comme la réussite mamandi ko yata bi man nano bi be bulo mutare ne hajul be siari wala to modo inshallah next week hani akala mo kilinto bina ko tiken na continue ñim programme wala ala baraka bake al kanjibe min na wato wati e ko kan sewo bake kam fananu soba man dina ndo ko kom mbokay ma ngi leen di nuyu di leen sante seen xarit seen mbokk seen am di jaamal Lamine Mané moo fi del si waaj di waxtaan ak yéen ci mbiri suñu réew mi di Gambia programme bi ñoo ooyee di Gambia we want dañ fi day ñëw di waxtaan ak yéen seen naka la ñu mën a def pour réew mi jëm kanam lan lañ soxla ak lan la ñu war a xeex ci réew mi tey nag suma naataango yi Laare Cissé Lamine Koma Mama Nding Kouyaté kenn mënut a ñëw tey ñoom ci baa ngi jàpp macha allah sant yàlla liggéey gi bëri rek moo tax waaye xam naa next week lu mu néew kenn dina ñëw bokk ak man programme bi donc ma ngi leen di nuyu di leen sant di leen gërëm ba fan yi ba ci kanam incha allah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we want to discuss 5 points with you. The first one concerns the continued tribal politics of the Barrow government that is being spewed all over the national media. The second point concerns the failures of the government, which they're trying to mask through all of these different attacks that we see on the national media. They think that they can distract us so that we don't discuss those problems. The third point concerns the UDP youth movement, the protest they are planning for Saturday against the illegal issuance of ID cards abroad. The fourth point will deal with our flag bearer selection for the UDP. The invitations have been put out for anybody who wants to run. We will discuss that very shortly as well. And the final point we'll be discussing, which concerns the arrest and detention of the activist Abdoulaye Sanyang. We'll discuss that as well with you. But first of all, let's discuss the tribal politics of the Barrow government. This is a government that is bent on pushing a wedge between the Gambian people. Why is the Barrow administration so bent on promoting tribal politics in this country? Why can't we see anything different from this government? And they do this because primarily they have failed in every initiative they're supposed to take for this country. Every promise has been broken. And since they cannot run on their achievements and on their record, they just want to divide the whole political spectrum in the country, discuss tribal issues so that we just are at each other's throats instead of talking about what is important for the country, their failure to deliver for this country. We will not be distracted to go that way. Anytime you go into this wrong tribal politics, we'll call you out. But after calling you out, we'll come back to the essential, the important things, what we're supposed to deliver for this country and which are failing to deliver. And that's what you don't want to discuss, but we'll discuss it. We are a country and we're trying to build a nation, not a collection of tribes. Adam Barrow and your government, you should refrain from trying to divide the Gambian people. You took an oath to unite this country, to keep us together, to develop this country. How are you going to do that if you consider that tribal politics is the way for you to succeed? Why do you want to drive a wedge between the Gambians? Why don't you think of something more positive that we can deal with to take this country forward? We should see ourselves as Homo Gambiensis, the Gambian man and woman, not the Gambian Mandinka, Wolof, Jola, Sarahule, Pol, Aku, whatever. No. Those are differences we say should enrich us and make us get better. But that is not who we are. We are Gambians above all, and that is what we want to promote in this country. And you'll be well advised to promote that as well. You have failed, yes. You will not be able to deliver anything before 26, that's obvious. But at least try to do something. Try. Try to do something positive and stop this tribal politics. When you came out and started attacking Usainu Dabo, saying that you got a contract out for him, and once he gets killed, you'll go to his funeral, wash your hands over his grave, and then you can be sure that he's dead and buried, and then you can think about stepping down. Why? Why so much hatred? Why so much hatred for the man who helped you to be what you are today, whose party selected you, pushed you, supported you, and sold you to the coalition? And you became president on the understanding that you're going to unite the Gambia. You're going to make us a people, a nation. And you're going to fight for our development through reforms, through political programs and economic programs. You failed to deliver that. So you think the only way to go is try to divide us so that while we fight, you can continue robbing us blind. Adam Barrow, hatred is not a policy, it's not politics. It's not a plan of government. If you want to rule this country, you'll have to do it through normal, rational politics with policies, programs, and projects that you implement based on the national interest, not tribal politics. But when you spew those kind of hatred towards a group of people or a party, naturally anybody in your government who wants to get close to you think that's the way to go. So they all go repeating the same things and saying the same unacceptable things. We had Ahmad Bahir go out and attack ethnic groups in this country. We had Dembo by force go out in 2021, do the same thing, attack ethnic groups, and tell other ethnic groups that if UDP wins, Mandinkas are going to take over and they're going to throw them out of this country. UDP does not own this country. The Mandinkas do not own this country. This country belongs to all the Gambians on this national territory. So no ethnic group can push out another ethnic group. No political party worth its salt would even try to discuss politics using tribe, let alone throw out other group ethnic segments from this country. That is just a figment of your imaginations. And it shows the blinkered politics you're trying to implement in this country. You have failed. You have failed to deliver for the Gambian people. Security sector reforms were never implemented. Health sector reforms were never implemented. Judicial and legal sector reforms were never implemented. The agricultural sector, nothing. Education sector, social sector, no reform has taken place. Even the Constitution, which is our guiding light, you said you're going to deliver a constitution for this country. Even that you failed in it. All we see is unending corruption in this country. You selling off our national assets, or you mortgaging them, or you concessioning them out. All in the name of incompetence. It's the incompetence of your government, the corruption, the impunity, the lack of compassion for Gambian people. That is what characterizes your government. That is why you are doing all you're doing to enrich a small segment of the Gambian population, not even 0.5% of the Gambian population. Your small cohort of courtesans, these are the people who are enriching, who are living it up big, while the rest of the Gambians are suffering. That is not the way to go. That is not how we see this country progressing. Now, you have to refrain from this tribal politics. Do not drive a wedge between the Gambians. Do not destroy our national fabric. We want to be a nation of Gambians, not a collection of tribes. You will be well advised to rethink your policies and programs. But we will call out your failures, and we will continue doing what is required to make the Gambian people realize how much needs to be done and how you failed in every sector. Because you cannot run on your programs that you're supposed to have implemented. You have achieved nothing. So you cannot run on your legacy. So you say, let's destroy the country. Or at least pit them against each other. So whilst they fight, we can continue doing what we do. You will not succeed. We will not fight as Gambians. We'll continue to work together. We'll continue to do what it takes to get you and your government out of State House. So this is what we're facing today. When Dembo by Force said what he said, you didn't condemn him. When Ahmad Ba said what he said, you didn't condemn him. When Demba Sabali came out not long ago, a few months ago, said they will spill blood to keep you in power, we had a resounding silence from you and your party. Sirinjai came out and said the same things. Outrageous. All we had were crickets. Nothing from NPP, nothing from Barrow. And now what we hear, Sekou Mbalo came out recently in Bakote, pitching for the Fullers to go one way and vote for Barrow. The Fullers are a part of the Gambian community, the Gambian fabric. Stop the tribal politics. And you see, you should know that the Fullers you're talking to, these are smart people, like any other ethnic group in the country. They will not follow your tribal politics. They will look at where we are today. How much are we suffering? What are we failing to achieve as a country? You see, hatred is not a program of government. Tribal bigotry is not a program of government. We live in an international community, and other countries are doing what it takes to go forward. And all you can think of is make us stagnate or retrogress. When our neighbors are developing and going places, as a country, if you don't change your politics. But I guess it's too late for you to change, because you don't know how to do it. You have no desire to do it either. So the only thing that's left is for the Gambian people to vote you out clearly in 2026 and hand this country over to people who are serious about our development, people who have a vision for this country, people who know what it takes to develop a country, and who want to take the Gambia places and make it relevant on the national and international stage. In the concert of nations, we have our place. We have the African Continental Free Trade Area. We don't want to be a market. Well, we're only consumers. We want to be a force in that African Continental Free Trade Area. To be able to export, we are competitive, we have comparative advantages, which we want to use to be relevant on that continental scale. But of course, you guys don't even understand what that means. So you don't think about it, don't do anything about it. So Gambians, you know what is left to do. Get rid of Adama Barrow and his government in 2026, vote in UDP and our potential allies, and we take this country forward. You see, but whilst you're doing that, what do we see in addition? We see several attempts to manipulate public opinion. Yesterday, we unfortunately, really unfortunately, saw a young man, Mar Nyang, come out and try to manipulate public opinion, say they are doing internet survey on whether the Gambians want Ousainou Darboe to be party leader for the UDP. What is your problem, Mar Nyang? You are a young man with a lot of potential, and we have a lot of respect for you. If you want to be a militant for NPP, just come out plain and do it and say it and jump into the political fray. Why are you singling out UDP for that? You know that the Gambia is very much with a population that hardly has the means to buy airtime, to be on the internet, to do all sorts of things. It's a small minority of Gambians who have access to that. How are you going to conduct an internet poll, reliable, to be used to get that sort of result? You cannot. But the objective is not to have a fair and transparent survey of the Gambian population. You are trying to sell an agenda, and you hide behind these internet surveys to do that. You recently came out unabashedly, and you put words into my mouth and into Ousainou Darboe's mouth and the Muslim cleric, who you invited. You invited us to the Kairaba International Conference Center about the constitution of this country. And you deliberately distorted what we said to make it sound as if we are supporting the 2024 constitution, for the life of me, I can't understand why you supported that constitution. You are a smart young man. You know that constitution is fundamentally flawed. But you went out completely and just put your honor on the line defending a constitution that you definitely know is not good for the Gambia. Why? Why are you doing this? And whilst doing that, you pull UNDP into the process with you. And we got disappointed that UNDP, of all people, will support you in that drive. You still have time to step back and rethink your position. But if you want to be an NPP operative, get in there, jump in the political fray. It's absolutely your constitutional fundamental democratic right. Jump in there and then compete as an NPP operative. Don't hide behind civil society to try to sell your agenda. I thought you would be above that. So please, deserve the respect we want to give you. If you want to be an NPP operative, go ahead and do so. If you don't want to be, do something that is positive and stop the games you're playing. The Gambians, of course, will not listen to your survey. You see, surveys are easy to manipulate. You can make them say whatever you like, especially when you do it in such a way. An internet survey of Gambians. Come on, let's be serious. But anyway, I don't want to waste too much time on that. What we're telling you in advance is whatever results you bring out, we don't believe it, nobody will believe it. Of course, except the sycophants like you who would want to push the NPP agenda, but nothing else. It really hurts for me to talk about you like that. Because I had a lot of liking for you, Mar. I thought you were a decent young man we could do something with. Please, don't destroy your own political career and your potential in this country. You have potential for the Gambia. Don't destroy yourself. Don't do things which you cannot justify, which are going to come out tomorrow to haunt you. Please. This should be beneath you. Anyway, we move on from that. So, as I said, Barrow has failed. Not only the reforms he promised, nothing has been implemented. The economic programs are all stuck where they were when he came to power. The only thing that seems to advancing a bit is road construction. And that road construction is progressing because it's a sector where we have a lot of misappropriation of resources. Because the amount of money you're saying you're putting in that is nowhere near the truth. So road construction is a way of enriching some people. And when the time comes and the audits are conducted for those road construction projects, the reality of the whole situation will come out for the whole Gambia to see. When you tell us you put $150 million to construct a 22-kilometer road, and you added another $54 million on top of that, $150 million for a 22-kilometer road is already $6.8 million per kilometer of road instead of $1 million. And you try to spin it that, yeah, this is the cost, etc. You add $54 million to that, that becomes $9.27 million per kilometer of highway. That's a world record. And you tell us, oh, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about because road construction is expensive. Road construction is expensive, yes. But there are limits. When you do it properly and scientifically, that's what it costs, $1 million roughly per kilometer of highway. But of course, if you bring in wrong people and wrong management, what is supposed to be for $1 million, they will tell you is $7 million, $6.8 million. The road construction companies want to make a huge profit and maybe share the profits with other people. If you let them, that's what's going to happen. But it's us, the Gambian people, we are the ones who are going to pay back those loans. When a large amount of that money would have been siphoned off, not put into road construction. Adama Barrow, if your Minister of Infrastructure wanted to put $204 million in a highway, we could have had a dual carriage, 4-lane, 2 on either side, from Sting Corner all the way to Bansang at least, or maybe even Basse. Not just 22 kilometers. That is massive misappropriation of resources. But we know how these things happen. We know it. And there will be forensic audits later on. So this is where we are. We are in an area here where the only area where we see some developments is in that sector at an extremely high cost. Everything is overpriced. It all smacks of corruption and misappropriation, and you know it. Why can't you rein in your minister? We see everything going wrong. From the Senegambia bridge that you mortgaged for $100 million, and you don't even see that money coming. The first $15 million that came went into recurring expenditure. The remainder, we don't know when it's coming, if it has come or not. And you promised to put that in infrastructure development. It's not done. You are concessioning out our airport after spending $41 million to renovate it. You still don't have proper electricity or air conditioning or toilet facilities in that airport, or even sitting areas. You don't have any sitting areas there. So 41 million renovation, and now you're telling us it's not working, we're going to concession. Where did the $41 million go? Our port, which we built from our sweat, our tax dollars, you give it out to Alberak to manage. That is no more than a management contract that you gave them. A management contract where they take 80% and we take 20%. And of course, the revenue distribution, which Larry mentioned very well, the 96.4%, it's a disgrace. Now you're concessioning the concession of the Sanyang port. And what do we see? You try to take over the lands of the Sanyang residents to do things which you cannot just talk about on TV. Because you're talking of real estate development like you did for Banjul. You bought most of Half Dye for port expansion. When you knew fully well that you don't need all that land. Today you're talking of building houses in Half Dye. When was the Minister of Road Construction, Infrastructure Development and Construction? When did you become a housing estate development ministry? When? And you plan to do the same thing for Sanyang. This government is totally, totally out of touch with the Gambian realities, and the corruption is killing this country. The same thing, Gamtel, Gamcell, you're preparing to sell them off. Why are you selling off or mortgaging or concessioning all our national assets, which were built to pay dividends for this country, and that those dividends are supposed to be used to develop the country? Why are you doing that? These are the areas you should concentrate on, not the tribal politics. But sometimes, you say, why do we continue saying this? We have to continue, though, because the Gambian people have to see what you are up to, what you're doing to this country, the hurt and the harm you're bringing to this country. So it is time to get rid of you. And because you cannot defend anything, you go out on a limb and say all that you say. Hoping that the Gambian people will buy it. No, the Gambian people are too smart for that. We will not accept that from you. We will denounce it. And you will be voted out in 2026. You still have time to salvage your legacy. You still have time to leave something behind. And live as a senior statesman, respected statesman. Not somebody who's going to be running away from the law. Not somebody who's going to be in exile. Like Jammeh today in Equatorial Guinea and other presidents in Africa, including Macky Sall in Morocco. Is that the kind of life you want for yourself and your family? That humiliation, that disgrace? That's not what we want for our heads of state. We want our heads of state, when they live as respectable people and be treated with honor and dignity. That's what we want for you. Not living as a pariah. But that's up to you, whether that's what you want for yourself or not. The ball is in your court. But because you cannot pull those off, that's why you're doing all the wrong things. Today you're distributing ID cards outside the country to people who most probably are non-Gambians. We have our information coming to us from all these places you go. The ID cards are going to who? To a few Gambians in those places, because there are extremely few Gambians in those places. But essentially to who? To Bissau Guineans, Guineans from Guinea-Conakry, Guineans from, people from Mali, etc., who are resident in those countries. You are giving our national ID cards to people who do not deserve that ID card. And we're going to take you to court for that. Because this illegality has to stop. And we hope that the courts will listen to us properly this time and do the right thing and stop the illegality in the country. But we will not let this fly. And that is why the UDP Youth Wing is organizing a demonstration, a protest march, on Saturday, the 23rd of this month. Today will be Thursday, in 2 days' time. So all Gambians, UDP or not, you are all invited to that protest, because we have to stand up and be counted. This country is ours. It belongs to us Gambians, and we've got to fight for it. You see, the Constitution not only gives us the right to that sort of protest, but it makes an obligation on us to defend our country. So we are all obligated to come out and defend this country. It's not just a few people going out there. This is not a UDP thing. This is a national thing. It's led by the UDP Youth Movement, Youth Wing, but they are doing it on behalf of the country, because it's the entire Gambia that is at risk with what is happening under the Barrow administration. The illegality has to stop. When those ID cards are given to people outside the Gambia, they're going to feed into the electoral register. You are planning of electoral fraud, and we will not let it happen. We're going to challenge those results also in court. We will go to revising courts. We'll do what it takes to stop this illegality happening. You have become so brazen in your attempts to defraud the country that we cannot just let it slide. We will fight back. And we will fight back within the ambit of the law. But we will fight back. We know corruption fights back too, and you guys are going to fight back. But yeah, we'll be up to the task. We'll be ready for you. So I hope that your security officials will give a permit to the youth and the other Gambians to come out and march, because this is a constitutional right which you cannot restrict. If you don't want chaos in your country, don't do it. And this is not a threat. This is not an incitement. It's advice to you to do the right thing. The law obligates you to do that. Do it. When you tried to stop it for Gala, you saw what happened. And when you gave them the permit, you saw the peaceful demonstration that took place. The youth came out, demonstrated, protested, and went home. This Gambia and the Gambians are peace-loving. Nobody wants conflict in this country. Nobody wants chaos in this country, except you and your colleagues. We want peaceful demonstrations, peaceful protests within the realm of the law. And you can assure that and ensure that by giving the people the permit to go out and demonstrate, because the permit is something you just need to give to be able to help steer the demonstrators and the protesters. You protect them from sycophants, and you help protect us in case some people try to infiltrate the demonstration, the agent provocateur. We will deal with them as much as we can. But we need the security forces to be there as well to help do it. When the Gala protest took place, I went to the police officers and said to you, I was there. I went to them and said, thank you. Thank you, this is what we expect from our security forces. To be fair, balanced, and law-abiding. Protect the Gambians. This is what we expect from them. And that's what they did, admirably. So if you stand out of the way and let our security officials do their work, they will do it again admirably. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you all on Saturday for the UDP Youth Wing protest in front of the election house on Battle Harding Highway. See you all there on Saturday. Now, the other thing we want to talk about is this government getting very jittery now and moving towards repression and intolerance. We saw this government arrest Abdoulaye Sanyang, a former military officer of this country, a young man who went on air on Coffee Time and said what he did to protect Barrow, including paying people who were supposed to have assassinated him. That is his story. But at least he said he made that attempt. He made so many other attempts. They fought to bring down a dictatorship. There is nothing wrong in that because the Constitution, as I said, makes it incumbent upon us to fight for this country. It's not just a right, it's an obligation. So this gentleman and a few other people went out to fight to protect this country. They should be commended for that, not arrested and harassed for that. They help you to stay in power, to get into power and stay there. They help to save your life. So why you arrest him? Instead of security considerations. What security considerations? This gentleman didn't commit any guns in this country. Didn't commit to do anything subversive or illegal. So why did you arrest him? Intolerance setting in. This is what we say. We have to curb the powers of the presidency. You give anybody too much power, they will use it against you. This is why we threw out 2024 Barrow draft, because we want to give you the powers that you wanted. We don't want to make you an imperial president in this country. And you are listening. You are listening to the people around you who are trying to make you do that. Think about your legacy. When things go bad, those people pushing in the direction, they'll all flee and leave you to handle it. Just like they did to Yahya Jammeh, you will face the same consequences when that happens. They will run away. They will call you all sorts of names. They're calling Jammeh today. They'll tell people, oh, we told him, he doesn't listen. That's what they're going to tell you, just like they did for Yahya Jammeh. Think for yourself. Think about your legacy. Think about your family. Think about your retirement post-presidency, post-2026. Because 2026, you're going to be voted out. At that point, where do you want to live? How do you want to live? Think about that. That depends on you. What we wish for you is that when you leave a presidency, you are able to live here as an honorable statesman. That's what we wish for every head of state who steer the affairs of this country. Even as poorly as you. You're steering very poorly, but we still wish you well. We would like you to stay here and be an honorable and honored elder statesman. But again, that depends on you. So we won't belabor that point. We'll leave it at that, and Madi will come in for Olem Korea Benny Bankokan. Barola Masmunda Korea Min and the Sonaway continent, so night tenting. Namuneje, Tentema, see Fatan Fan Sodron, Momane Fo, Kumaja Fall, Cassiol du Nyoto, Cassiol not Senyola. And the Sanola Nina. Now, 2021, the mobile force findita. Ha ni UDP ganyeta man ni kulbal bay la jimba ko kanne ibal be seren la Guinée Bissau Guinée Conakry fenkete kuma jama kula kunta jama men al fama nyanna o fala bartuma do makal fatu modo ke balam man bara makal fati o manyina bola bi dem mobile force da bar be ga yafu adama baro ma finti aya condemn ama fa ko tukana nyufo ama fe fay o diata elenu ada fanga findita ko Usainu Dabo ay contrat ko pour Usainu Dabo fani afa ay tawala baade auto ay pour ko kaburo kan na se kata mi fa bi jila fa ta jila president mo nyando fola and exactly stop tribalism, stop the tribal politics. You look at screen and that's it. Nyambanko mumbele tati sio mbebe sio be nyanto soto janne baba nite o fote mu president anata election national 2021 ba han itlem president bi nite yo fo mili be no mo lefta place o le bulu yo ko kilon le fola wala na siri njaf finta la kuma kuntangolo fo wala amad ba finta la kuma manewolo fo wala na dem sa wor finta kuma jawol fo mo ka fa bidji do bon nanyim banko kan pour ki tuma masakunda wana se kum balo kunun ko ba finta tara ba kote ka kuma manew fo fulol ye pour ye deng ye fulol fasa fulol mo tirindin lati ita wol nene la comme jan sioli beta si nene la moli yela hanyan tollon yela ha jollon ye na fa mi ye na fa wolon ko no si wona dampo mi ya na fa wolon bota be bol kam biyo to ilo fala moye way def nga ñin si ko ka chato nga ñin ko ka pour imam min ka ñim ba ko kay tiñaro ngi pour si ñina wala hanin te ñina ñina no la wala ila kuru yamba folale ila masakunda la kuru yamba folale na la ñin ku manewol ki mba folale ba ngam banis mu ranga fa ba ko la ñanta min ka alman minke alman la fi ngola kacha ana kuma to ngiru kuma sinta ni be kacha lay ben tribalism folante ita ku do kacha la wota kala katu ngi sindi min ka manyim ba ko kan 2016 ani hani bire election sunya 2021 yenta min kala walen ka falendiro ka nyimba ko kan ikaf me reforms ko tanna security bundal wal sojaro ni police la bundal ye falendiro ka je fotilin soto je banko nga sembo men di police la pour sa tamandi nyam pour gambe dul tanka ka banko tanka lafta wala no ka to na police wol kono nim mo kemelen tankon to nin kono to be mo betollete kilim don ne katere ko mi la ko lebla ray tekan Allah ta mine ko leke pour kamol la jantol tinya ko nyanta banna nyim banko kanne taye falendiro ko je security sector ya yenna kantar bundalu ayna tanka bundalu ye be lo nya betol mi ko banko sinna fa soto je imake ko tan na kiti bunda fan to nyama fo kiti sta nyama mo mon na nyanto min tata kiti de si la nyanto di la ni luwa tamata nyama kiti bundal tamate nyama mo tata la ye sembo di fan tay jo mo le ye tonyo mo le la fen sunya mo le ye bute mo le la mo bute mo le la mo fayra mo baram ita ite jo la ibara la ko luwa bi nga sama luwa to luwa nyanta min ke luwa ku luwa la kan lafta wala la wala ko justice and judiciary reforms ke isaje luwa si tamano nyumba ko luwa si mobe kanta nyumba ko kan momo yela nyanto soto ni bota min kayita luwa to luwa ye fasa ye kululo la mol kamila ko wala nyanta kulula bari ma woke nko na karambugol fanan afana reform fondigol si karambetol soto no amanke a jube ñi resolve fo gabe sila wala na ñi resolve fi nak kato la fale fa fonde me tolon ko te fa resolve fi de science nul me examol ta a jube mil felta jube ba na tamita ñim banko kan dindi mo mi examol ta ane même pasta aman 10% fa aussi keme mo tan hani mo tam man pasi kon amel fo mo lule fo mo worol keme wala pasa keme kon wala credit lulu soto kan kata sant o mo malote yimba ko kan na education sector beti nyata se no bundate fola doli ila tielu afirin se hanke melo joro soto no ñinay ko tiya boto tiya ke se boto wuli tanim fula doli tiya fiobula igata ñolle fiya ni tuba ñola ni fendo fala betale mi la tiyo do ko la inta tiyo sutno la tiyo turo sutno do ko kanyam jawra la tamu nga sit stol la so jam mol kira tiyo ma bol ni sama sit yela sit ita sit stol to yela tiyo le fintindi ya tey yela turo soto ali be buruka fo ya jamel fo buruka baytama itti samuru no bari ma murunda so tiyo be ko so tiyo turo man soto kato mol ta jono wul tanni fu la tiyo boto iba ke la nyadil ita keno la so tiyo ben ka jikala pour que demanding export fana be bandal o tiñaro juube ita tractol sam iko ko senelal don to wala tracto taw woro mom wuli keme woro senelal ma wuli keme woro jono jam pour tracto jumala ha ken wala mo sama pour senelal sama na pour alteri manuel min sa jono ya sama na wala ma sama na senelal ya sama na senelal ibe cooperative le lol ye senelal dengala e do ko kala ye ma ko fo wuli ni lote fay wata min na fegol sanno bari folo foye ma ko le lo sim folo la folo so men taktol sama na senale sama ne teri ñolle e fanna ma ñim banko kan ti ñaaro lam o man kanyan na fol min ben bulo ngamel do ko ñim masakunda koto e sa masakunda folo koto na porol na airportol na feriol na salolu gamsel albe be kili wafi kan walla ke tayle walla kay ke dim walla contrat ko sanji tan sabani yal ate tarlan dan tol koto muni wono abe tilimbali ya kilima abe kuru ya kilima abe corruption kilima katu ka wolu lole nun katu tul man diamond soto jam man tul soto jam follow ngalo ka be bakono baraka almaji so kole ko janembe fen do soto do ko keno min nani banko ngani company law saji wol dividend min jol wala dividend wala ni do ko ke profito min soto e profito kala do tikaya di masakundare kay telen tol lode say na profito fele di fana nyenta do ko kan to ko den do ko masakundare lo wala kama comme ni biti ko lo ay do ko ke ay ko do dundinam e karado di le fana yo tay to biti fana yo mutay be bakala min tiba yalo karado ya ta ya ka fu marchandise biti ko semboy wara lafta wala no be gañu compagnie lo la nga gamtel lo gamsel wala ka do kulal jonu jam yelo wala kam bayti mal la fi wala igma se ko yo albo be wafika na pon mi ngalo salo mi be fara feñe bamba tenda yeli tenda African Development Bank en sola altara liya tayle photo ko do fana na photo salo la sanji moni lulu ni yaro o manken tati wala mi suri do ndin do skale adina ji photo la mi yalla ko ni million wuli kema soto ji million kema soto ji dollar o na million kema do soto ji photo to biel ando ko la fana konde fello na uma fo la ji salawo silawo min si o bri compete non ta keno la hanen na kawmi na kawti pour na banko tamen le fo busin ali adi wande banko la band na poro mi ngalo na ko dol aliyata ali adi al bayrak la andu ngambe dum jemi su tamandi no nyama nan na ma di wala na tata di bantalan ko wala ko do na ko do butu na min be ke jam fota bela mi yakon dol tamunum 100% ali ke mo o ke mota ali tan seydi alberak lay montan to buluji so poro be montan ni ala fon tala la kemete du tam mo wonton net tan seydi alberak lay mi malo imam fenke je man dala sike je imam fen sambana management contract be wala je ato management contract dino la gambe do la pour yake tilimbalia na sanyam poro kalia style kata di alta alberak kilo pour yalo na albo mfon sa lo no le no bari hana ladi alberak fana le be ko do be di alberak la airport ali million tanna ninkili ke dollar million tanna ninkili am beteyano hani air condition soto je courant man soto je si bla man soto je donc ko fa man soto je o ko ra ka kana fana concession ka di bantala banko la ko de mona tan na fewol mi ngado ko burka banko samanya be kili wa fele wala ka tayle altul ma lo aliya tarajere do le ya lo biel kaliya betinya ka di bantala banko ñille be kere banko kan ñille banko ko le yandi ñu dala so boyta dala so la boye fe be da sherndi julo tambi lan tambita so lu mu nekk kan taxe duron ka fe be taxe ñim banko kan mu be foire yal duron ya fuka ha e jiare be do ko bal la yes parce que mo nekk gambe de wala foire yandi fe ya taxe mu fana mi ka ko do min tole munam atul ma ñim banko kanu al man gambe dum kanu al fon la nafa dron al kanu je so Gambia 2026 jari mbale bondilale kuru ya kanyantale ñaro kanyantale alda ma taman kany banko alda ma ñena kay resut lañu banko kam banko dul be ñeta kay resut lañu banko kam mul mi la dimbayal dañi ni no mi la dimbayal karandino mi jarano imam ku keno ko le ya kam so lafta la mi fana na flag bearer ni la nam tul ko nga finte nga do ko ke pour si banko sambañato pour ka sambañato fu nga ñaato ko tombo UDP sambala wala na flag bearer mbe lo la ñe kan na patio represent kan na patio tola carte faynala o flag bearer sa nga mol commandile momo laftana la pour que dabula tombondiro to yenana so momon lafta ina yafantelo to laftalo hena yela tantangolo luwo tema no tombondiro ke non tombondiro banta min gagneta ay tambi way kana flag bearer usen dabude ko labe lolale pour que flag bearer bar momo fa lafta lo ko tege isna na yelo mam mo bali lolan to mu democratic institutionality democracy ko ta mandiya lafta banko kan wala ben parti fanan gon ntede ntela kanjer mo usen dabolati yes man nu ko wala bar mi fanay kanjer dosul fanay nana muta say ay tantan lo luwote ma nga jubi lafta wala so nga min to salon ko parti wala tombon way tam parti ñaato so ko kuma do so taje fa wadol kuma saka ko ha nka min ke nka usenu la fasa hani ma usenu fasa luwal me banko kan ka wala noma na constitution ko le ko momo yalon ko iman dan kambe di yale banko do di yasoto itelo no la carte fayo la jam ntol man la fi wala de kan tu diaspora ko lu ngol xoroma bakale ngi buña laftana mo be diaspora fa ñaso la yelo no bare constitution ya jamel constitution 1997 constitution wala ko momo manke Gambia di dam mati foye banko do di yasoto itelo no la carte fayo la sonto ko say ni wala momo yalla ko nationalité do be bulu ibu banko do di ngoti fana Gambia ta ko la ni la selo la carte fayo na yello flag be ranyini wala ni nyaton ka ya nyini ni tele gagneta and watan banko do fana la citizenship be bulu ibu banko do di ngoti ko teke mbe ma ko la yew wala citizenship sehindi janni ay sila do ko commencer la isa yi silo no UDP katu ni ma okay silo no la UDP katu constitution man son la to la constitution te Gambia la constitution 1997 constitution wala ko momo nationalité soto mi tambi de Gambia tala nationalité do soto ite lo no la so to ko ni wala butum momo la sakalo UDP to yala ni ngata nationalité do be buluma ke Gambia tati nana yello ni lo ta nata gagneta si ma koy yo nationalité do sendi ye Gambia tada mamut he ilo ina candidate so to ngani nefo so seneyatale wala mammo bo moto mammo bo nyoto momo lafta lola isnana yello no momo lafta ka flag bearer nyaton ka yanyini ena yello nga carte fayo na patiyo kono min gagneta o yata bari de ngalon ko jama babi je ko mir ka kamel to fol ko ningi usenu lo te lola mo ci may wala fa folo de mam mo mi safa ko ni usenu lo fana be lola de mo moy folo de parce que no le ka to ni la constitution le sembo di la ila nyanto le ni mi solo le si lo no le so be mat nga ju fodo fana be lola ko te ka usenu ngal usenu be lola ya fole seneyata mo le solo ko te pour ka anyini nana fana yelo ngayo carte fayo ke ni mi gagnata ngo tambindi way kan na flag be kan president carte fayo so wala mun to la lon kan wodi nka démocratie min fo banko kan ka tilim min fo banko kan lafta min na je wala ben na parti fana kono nta fo la Gambia tiling Gambia lo démocratie kan Gambia mo la nyanto kanta na parti kono ngamba wala to ken wala so lafta min na banko ye lafta wala parti ye ka tum parti ka ndo ko kanyum pour yim banko le ni UDP ko gayta be yim banko le do kula so banko la nafa ani banko la loi wala normal ni man la loi min na man diagne ni sita lu min bol falinale ñin diaspora ka diaspora ko lu patandi ñami te ke ñori banta ite quartier fayde te lolu la ka député te lolu la ka président mo be buru kala le ka tun diaspora ko ben tol bele je do ko la Gambia dingol le muyti andu ñanta lolu la ka député ti ñanta lolu la ka ministre ti ñanta lolu la ka président tan diaté dul be buru kala le par que no wato be sila loi même fo bulaw no ma ne on te ben candidat disqualifié la le sontol wel ñu mën na lon kawti just like 1997 constitution to man la fiala ka to am bete pour banko baro ye bam pour ka bay nin tol sita me 1997 constitution bol folo bay la constitution ko sambana o le 2020 constitution ba sambal na ko te kamburu ndina ñu le mën to la lon kawti kañil le kele anim ba ko en tamal la ñamen ta do ko la ñamin fanal be ta ñam nga reformol ke ñama na seno sembentu ya na industrial development sama nañu banko nga factual nin do ko dol sama nañu banko pour do ko kambe dol so do ko so no nga safaro sono ni banko kana ni banko bantala banko tema se no ni min so taje nga do ku jang mi windo mo nga do mo jan to nga wa fi banta tul bi ñu le koto na development programme lo sener mo be wolon altul mo wala sotal man ku keno sanyi konondal man ku keno sal bi al kale mo sendi ñola pour nga ñina wala te keno la para ka katol ñam pour kamol hakilo suña doro wala mo ñin mo kalanta foti siol tema wala nak fondin ke do bi jafin tañu wati ka fay mar ñang akate bi nanan pour kana Gambia ko lu kay fonkol kala sauver ka tan fu mo la fa usen da bolale atamanta UDP fam aka mo ne sauver tolier tolbe na flag be racu tombon mo ba tay ji par ñim fondin ke lo to jang ay ntene Ousseynou Dabo ay invite nun tata Kairaba Conference Center pour constitution kachara aya kumna kumuta aya yelemandi akon to lafta 2024 constitutional la finti tan kay im foto nyante na be tan di Gambia don le Gambia don jembe keri ñine yow beke fondin kele mi yalon ko nun tul nga horoma nga buña mar ñam bi fana ba fan toti ñal ba fam batandi la akabe na sauver internet sauver Gambia no malaka internet use banko kanja so ninga tele sa pour que loka kelo ke NPP finti yelo NPP kelo ke ngalo ni juma lebe ñora ni politique ok way itano yema bu social media koma yema bu civil society koma ibe NPP fa sala o keno la so finti yelo ha ila ñaan tolem ya fon tlef lo NPP le NPP le fa sala finti yelo nga kelo ke ñora barkane ma bo ñen koma so watu bina tala ngalo to folo ngana ta sura kan to demandi mbokay liñ doon wax fi moy ne gis nañ Adama Barrow ci lim nekk mo nguuram ñoom ñoo fi nekk boor bu set ñu génn di jéem a xaajale doomi réew yi ñu jéem a féewale amul lu ñoo wax lu affaire yi xeet te xeet bii ëllëg xeet bële ñun bu ñoo nekk nguur réew boo xam ne xeet yi ña fi nekk rek di xoolante di bañante dañ bëgg a doomi réew yëpp nekk Gambian ku nekk fi nga jógee fi nga faaxee ko sax xeet bi da nga ko bëgg da nga ko war a ormal da nga ko war a baakoo da nga ko war a ndamoo waaye loolu dafaa fekk dafaa nekk ci gannaaw Gambian ñun dañ bëgg a jël suñu xeet bi li ci nekk ñu boole ko yëpp def ko liggéeyi Gambia dañoo xalaat soose wala wolof wala joola séeréer manjaago pël ak xalaatuñ loolu dañoo xalaat mooy Gambian loo xam ne mu ngi suñu aada yi suñu xeet yi ñu indi leen boole yëpp liggéey réew mi so nañ stop tribalism loolu mooy dëgg ji nañ émale tribalism ñu daxa ko fi soxlawuñ loolu liñ soxla mooy Gambie ñëpp nekk benn liggéey suñu réew mi ñu mun a jëm kanam loolu moo ñu yittee loolu ñu Adama Barrow defal loolu bàyyi la ñu jéem a féewale waaye lu ñu lim nekkee moom mboor bu set di wax lu ko neex di def lu ko neex pour ñu bañ a déggoo rek naka ngaa nekkee njiiti réew nga nekk liñ bëgg a mooy njiit boo xam ne ngay nekk pour sa du ñu ñaw ñu ñëpp ñu nekk benn bu ñu féewalee bu ñu xaajante xëy ci réew mi Gambie bi ñun ñëpp benn lañ waaye ngeen la waaye dimbale ñu soo ko mënul bon wàccal nga bàyyi ñu ko waaye bul jaaxal suñu réew waaye lii nga fi nekkee te yow yaay ndeyu bila bi ñi ko def yëpp ci sa parti bi yow yaa tax yaa fi génnoon taxaw ne da nga am contact pour ñu réew Ousseynou Dabo su dee nga dem suuli ko raxas sa loxo ci kaw baameelam nga mun a xam ne dee na léegi nga dem uti def fi leneen seen na di nga wàccam déet yaa ko fi waxoon soo waxee loolu kay ñu nekk sa gannaaw ku bugg a nekk sa xarit dafay wax loo xam ne noonu la affaire yi xaajal rek lay nekk ñoo naka la ñoo féewalee réew mi doomi réew yi te yow da nga waat ne réew bi da ngaa def lépp pour ñu nekk benn pour réew mi na jëm kanam yaa ko fi waat bi nga nekkee président su lu tax ñu bëgg boo ñëw féewale loolu dafa amut solo da nga ko war a dafa doy bàyyil yooyu nga ñu def loo xam ne mooy yóbbu réew mi ci kanam waaye li tax ngay def lii parce que yow li ñu dégg ne da nga koo defutoo ci dara li nga war a defuloo ko ñun ñoo la soppoo dugal la daf ci yóbbu la ci coalition bi nga taxaw taxaw pare nga weexañu nga or ñëpp ñu la xam ne ñoo la dimbali dem ji ñu doon xeex ngay liggéey ñooñu léegi di or Gambia so loolu yow yaa ko bëgg a de loolu si moom sa lu la neex mun nga koo def sa democratic right la des na ci yow waaye ñun xam nañ ne li ngaa def kenn bëgg ko ci réew mi soo nañ la wàccee 2026 génne la fi ndig yow bëgguloo wax ndig réew mi jëm kanam da nga ba ñuy xeex rek suñuy xëy ngeen di nekk di ñu sàcc rek loolu doo fi amati jeex na 2026 ñu wàccee la soo li nga wax pour ñu bañ a wax sa féel yi si moo tax ngay def yi pour su ko defee ñoo nekk di waxtaan si affaire yi féewale yi rek duñ wax li nga xam ne defuloo ko waaye loolu du mën a am Adama Barrow bi nga toogee da ngaa def réforme defuloo benn réforme di nga jàppale mbéy mi ci réew mi defuloo ko di nga jàppale paj bi ci réew mi defuloo ko lopitaan yëpp a ngi sonn maa ngi room ak tey génn Royal Victoria Hospital Edward Small Francis Hospital maa ngi ko room ak tey ci suba ci gannaaw part bi féetoo géej bi ci gannaaw lopitaan bi fa laa fekk ay jigéen yu bëri tëdda ñu lal ay basan ci nawet bi ñëpp a ngi tooy foofu noonu waaye amuñ place ci biir parce que dañ indi ay ñu feebar ñu tëdda ci biti ci ron lopitaan bi ci gannaaw ci mbeedam yi fa lañ dee fanaan fa la ñoo lekk fa la ñoo indu te yaa ngi State House fii 100 meters moo nekk sa diggante lopitaan bi da nga gis loolu boor bu set loolu dawut sa yaram xoolal ni ñi ne ngay sonn ci réew mi fii man maa leen war a jàppale parce que maay seen président soo taxawoon sa office sa présidence bi soo xool di nga leen gis waaye loolu iteewu la ci biir lopitaan bi ci boppam ñi yaa ngee fanaan ci woor si ci suuf ci ay basan waaye yow xalaatuloo loolu li ngay xalaat mooy affaire yi xeet béykat yi ñu jaayoon seen gerte gi daaw ba tey ñeen am na ñoo xam ne feeguñ leen ren ñu ne saako gerte gi pour mun a jiw bi saako gerte jiw bi ñu ne fukk ak ñaari junne pour gerte ñu ne ko mën a jënd soo li ñoo am gerte ren dafa néew trop parce que du mën a jënd gerte googu noonu su ñu laa ngee dem di ubbee ay dugub ay findi ak loolu baax na sax waaye dañ waroon a mun a béy lu leen neex yow defuloo dara pour dimbale leen dañ fi amoon ay seed stores nga xam ne suñ góobee gerte ba pare sa jiw yi dafa dem denc ñu tëj ko nga xam ne doo ko mën a yàqal doo ko mën a lekk ba su noor bi jeexee ñu delloo leen ko ngeen toj seen gerte dem ji yi loolu yëpp jeex na fi léegi loolu ngeen war a indiwaat ñu foon denc seen jiw yi mën a am lu ñoo liggéey ci next year bi waaye yëpp def leen ko yéen xalaatu leen loolu yéen daal seen bànneex rek am moto yu mag di dawal du nekk fu nekk dem fu nekk di wër dëkk bi yëpp di yàq suñu essence bi di tukki dem fu leen neex ñu leen a fay par diem yi dul jeex ngeen nekk di mbumbaay rek loolu moo leen iti fekk Gambien saa ngee dee amuñ garab yu baax amuñ lopitaan yu baax amuñ jàngat yu baax amuñ béy bu baax courant amut ndox amut dara yii dafa war a jeex Adama Barrow taxi benn ndaw ñu wax affaire Mariam yi doon wax maar dañ laa wax maar ñaa soo buggee taxaw pour NPP génnal nga taxaw pour NPP ñu xam fan nga féetoo ñu mun a jànkuwante ak yow soo ko bëggoon bon defal la war nduñ da la orma de waaye yow war ngaa xalaat sax sa future ndaw nga bul nangu ñuy yàqala man ku la ndawoon laa nga génne wax yi ngay wax ci ñun génne man maa aussi daal ba li ñu waxoon pour constitution 2024 te yàlla xam ne waxuñ ko te óora la waxuñ ko waaye nga génne ragaluloo rusuloo wax bugg ñoo wax loolu ñu waxut te nga nga def sauver pour Ousseynou Dabo ku la ko sant te sauver bi nga def nga internet sauver amee na ñoo use internet pour ñoo def internet sauver sooy farleel yu NPP gën nga farle leen rek loolu sa right la waaye bul na bu gannaaw civil society organisation di jéem a def loo xam ne du yoon ndaw nga bul yàq sa ëllëg naa ngi leen a yëgal itam nag ne nguur gi li mu nekk fii di joxe carte ID card yi ci biti ñi fi nekk war a am ID card amuñ ko ngeen bàyyi leen fii am na ñoo xam ne am nañ fi ay weer ak weer di xaar seen ID card ñeneen at sax mënuñ koo am nga jël ay millions de dollars jox ko sa immigration department ñu dem ci biti di ko joxee ci biti ñeen lañ koo jox ñoo xam ne duñ doomi Gambia gis nañ li xew Mali gis nañ ko Mauritania li xew Gabon gis nañ ko li ñoo def yëpp gis ñu koo gis te nañ ci dem nañ leen ci yóbbu code waaye loolu yëpp pour lan la pour ngeen mën a defar voter cards pour ñooñu pour jéem a sàcca élection di 2026 te du fi am na leen ordre du fi am so pour loolu bañ a am balaa ñoo dem code nañ dem code nag waaye balaa loolu suñ ndaw yi suñ youth wing ñu ngi def démonstration samedi bii gannaaw ëllëg ñu ngi oo bépp doomi Gambie nañ fa génn a ñëw jàppale suñ ndaw yi jàppale réew mi lii du proteste yi UDP de proteste yi Gambiens la pour Gambie la pour nguur gi bañ a mën a sàcca élection si pour ñu mën a toppa yoon bi wala ne yéen a fi am loi yaa ngi fi yéen a war a sàmm loi bu leen yàqal loi yi loolu la ñoo jéem a def te mag leen a yëgal nguuri Adama Barrow gis ngeen li fi xew bëggoon a xew ci taami gàlla bi ngeen joxee permit jox leen UDP youth bi permit pour ñu mën a génn dem seen demonstrations permit bi dañ ko yelloo yéen liñ leen laaj rek mooy nga jox leen permit ngeen ñëw ni police yi ñu dem aar leen xoolal saa ñu amee démonstration fii te ngeen joxee permit dara du fi dee xew bi ngeen joxee gàlla gars yi dañ génn def seen démonstration ci njëkk def li ñoo def ba pare ñu ñibbi dem seen kër dara amu fa dara yàqu fa parce que loi bi loolu la leen sant kuy démontrer ngeen ñëw aar leen ñu bañ a dal seen kaw ñu tam bañ a dal ci kaw ñeneen def leen loolu la leen war soo jox leen permit ñu génn dem démonstration bu leen jéem a provoquer ne day bañ a joxe permit li moo jur ëllëg yéen a koo tax te ñun buñ benn kéew ci réew mi lañ bëgg ci réew mi mooy réew mi dem ci ni mu war a demee ñëpp sàmmal loi bi ñu toppal loi bi loolu nag ci yéen la des nag def leen li war xam ngeen ko def leen loolu ñu mën a jëm kanam soo fi mu nekk ñu ngi def lépp loo xam ne ci réew mi pour jéem a seet naka la ñoo def réew mi jëm kanam te bu jëm kanam yi réew mi óor na yàlla ne du Adama Barrow moo ko mën a def ak tiimam parce que réew mi xalaatuñu réew mi de ñoom li ñoo xalaat mooy seen bopp rek soo Gambians nañ xam liñ bugga nañ génn samedi dem ci démonstration si jàppale youth wing bi jàppale ndaw yi comme ni leen jàppalee gàlla def li ñu war a def pour kon nguur gi ne njublaan bi dafa doy duñ ko fi nangu bi ñu waxee never again we mean it nañ def loolu samedi ñu génn a jàppale ndaw yi ñu ci li war a wécci ko ci réew mi boobu nag dañ ko def nag waaye du tere ñu dem court su gars yi topput seen ID card fi dañ ko dem nañ dem court dañ def liñ ci war li ci war nañ ko ci def soo fi mu nekk li ñoo wax Gambien si Adama Barrow ak nguuram gi li ñoo def pour féewale ñu loolu yëpp lan la pour ñu bañ a wax seen jublan li nga xam ne wax nañ ko dañ ko def defuñ ko pour ñu mën a bañ a discours loolu moo tax ñu nekk di def li ñoo def tey su ko defee ñun nekk di xuloo rek di xeex rek suñu diggante ñoom ñuy sàcc rek loolu lañ bëggoot bëgguñ réew mi dem tollu point boo xam ne xeet yi dañoo nekk di bañante di xeexante waaye xeet fii lañ ko fekk waaye ñun ñoo dëkk ñoo nekk def lépp ñoo dee sëy ñoo dee dem si ngénte yi ñoo dee dem ci dëj yi ñoo dee def lu nekk soo lañ ko war a continuer loolu lañ xam ci réew mi loolu lañ yelloo loolu lañ màggee nañ ko jàpp continuer ci loolu bàyyil di ñu jéem a feebaale soo Gambians 2026 des na ci yéen ngeen ñëw sànni karta génne fi Adama Barrow nguuram teg fi UDP ak ñuy liggéey ak moom pour ñu di nguur woo xam ne na liggéey réew mi ñëpp am seen ax ak seen yelleef ci yéen la des nag te xam nañ ne di ngeen ko def donc ñu ngi leen di sant di leen gërëm di leen jox dig daje la next week ak yéen nañ fi ñëwaat waxtaan ak yéen ñu leen di sant di leen gërëm yéen ñëpp di leen di jaay yéen jëf yal na leen yàlla sutura mee leen fan bu gudd ak wér-gu-yaram yal na leen yàlla yokk a xéewal mbaali bee kontaan wax assalamu aleykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh fodlo kunna ala koto ken amuran kana kaca koto ken nin teri mañola naltolu ala baraka bake. Thank you all. We are very pleased to be here again with you. But just 30 seconds, the flag bearer issue, we discussed that, was forgot to mention it in English. The UDP flag bearer is open to everybody. Any UDP member can apply. And if you are a dual national or multinational nationality holder, you can still apply, run for the elections. If you win our flag bearer election, we will work with you to help you renounce other nationalities so that you can become a normal candidate for the UDP, because the 1997 Constitution requires that the candidate be exclusively Gambian. So any Gambian who has dual or multiple nationalities, you can still apply. If you win, we'll work with you and help you to renounce your nationalities other than Gambian and run for flag bearer of the UDP. Thank you all very much. See you again next week. And until then, stay safe and stay well. Thank you.